Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching the Positive Vibes podcast. Today, I have a couple of really interesting people that I know you will enjoy, especially if you have listened to my podcasts in the past about music, about what's going on in the world, all of that wonderful stuff. So, welcome to the show, guys. I've
Yeah,
got DJ and AC on the show from the Metal Podcast. Um, where do you guys want to start? Because we can start
well,
anywhere you'd like.
first I wanted to thank you for having both of us on. We really appreciate it, and then we're excited for where this conversation may lead. So thank you again for having us.
No problem at all. Thank you guys for being here. Um, we were talking before the show a little bit about how music has changed. Um, that might be a good place to start. I know you have some ideas about the Super Bowl that we were talking about and how that all happened. I did not watch it yesterday, but I would love to hear your thoughts about it because I've heard from a lot of other people who have a lot of strong thoughts.
Yeah, well, I mean, you didn't really miss much, but I'll fill you in as quickly as I can. So I kind of have the same thoughts every year about the Super Bowl halftime performance, and I usually say it's the worst thing I've ever seen. But it shows because I remember when, you had performers like Michael
Pepperidge
Jackson.
Farm remembers.
Back in my day, we had real talent,
Right.
taking stage. And instead of like, it was just weird. I don't really know how to describe it, but you have one performer where you can tell a lot of the times he's not actually singing or
Right.
rapping, and there's 100 guys around him just like bobbing their heads, and you're like, why would you even want to be surrounded by that? I don't. And I guess my small mind doesn't really understand, but it just seems like it's the biggest stage during the year. I mean, maybe the presidential inauguration got more viewers, but that guy was there at the
Right.
Super Bowl. So they try to promote this whole thing, especially the Super Bowl show, as the most iconic performance of the year, and every artist, if you want to call them that, gets, I don't know if they get a lot of money, but I know they get a lot of followers and they make a lot of sales afterwards. I've
Right.
heard different like reports on, do they get $1 million for their 20-minute set, or do they just make millions of dollars from endorsement deals and I guess, would you call them, I guess, streaming sales, because they don't really have record sales anymore,
Right.
but
Streaming plays.
oh, plays, that's right.
Plays, yes. Yeah. Yeah. I miss records. I miss actual vinyl records. But that's just me. It seems like they're trying to be inclusive, I think, with a lot of different types of music. And I'm
What do you mean? It's been the same genre for like the last 15 years.
several years, yes, it has, but they were trying to go in a different direction. And I don't think they've really kind of hit their target. A lot of people that I know that did watch the Super Bowl left at halftime and then they went back later. They didn't even watch it. So that's kind of interesting to me as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting to kind of think, okay, how did we get here? And that's kind of what I guess we've kind of stumbled upon on our show, as in the beginning, trying to find our what we're good at or what we're doing, rather than just being a heavy metal show, or a metal show from a heavy metal perspective. What
Music
are
show.
we, AC?
Music show from heavy
Music
metal.
show from a heavy metal perspective, but
Yeah, no,
we
you forgot your notes. It's okay.
I did. I just can't read my handwriting, but
That's true.
I think
Really
some of the most important episodes we've done was a four-part series on the Laurel Canyon musicians,
Mhm.
and it's a very interesting rabbit hole that we didn't really think we would stumble upon. But kind of fast forwarding now to all these artists or very popular people who just seemingly come out of nowhere, and you had acts like Van Halen that, they sold a lot of records on their first album, but they were playing shows for 5 years. Now you have people that don't even have an album out who are the number one artist, and it's like,
Right.
And some of them, they don't have an album out and are the #1 artist, and then are shown at the Super Bowl and get booed next to Taylor Swift.
That too, Ice Spice. So you did
Yeah,
watch it, AC.
No, I watched the backlash to it.
Okay.
yeah, that's what I've done too. I've seen the backlash, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I missed that part, but I did watch from start to the halftime show, and then I stopped watching.
Yeah.
And then your Prozac wore off, and then you started reaching for the rope, and then you had to
Exactly.
turn it off.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone that I know in the music industry now says it's AI. It's a lot of AI pushing people forward. Um, when I grew up listening to music, people had real talent. And now it seems like everything is, they're using autotune or they're using some other methods of making themselves sound good. I don't know exactly how that got there, other than people making connections with the intent of pushing themselves forward rather than I have talent, promote me. It's more like we're out for the money. We don't care if you have talent. We don't care if you sound good. We're going to make a couple bucks and then we're going to go on to the next one. And that's really disappointing to
Oh,
me.
they don't care about the money. Oh,
Yeah.
they 100% do not care about the money. And I think a lot of this was just a perfect storm. It was just a bunch of things happened, and then a bunch of people just said, "Hey, this all happened. Let's see how we can put this together." Because there was a band in the '90s called Garbage, and their first hit was "Only Happy When It Rains."
Yep.
And what the band was, it was a bunch of producers. And then they just said, why are we making music for other people? Why don't we just make our own music? We'll just hire some girl to sing, and then we can just make it. And that's like Garbage was a band that sounded super pristine because all the members were producers.
Right.
And then I think that was just kind of one step where people said, well, shoot, if these guys are doing it, why don't we just do that? And then they eventually pushed out people that were talented and had options and could do stuff. And they just said, we can make anyone sound good.
Right.
Why do we need people that can tell us no, we'll take our business elsewhere? And then they just started getting anyone that would just hold their hand out and say, as long as you give me a check, I'll do anything that you say. And then eventually we got to the point where we're at now, where every artist is basically a prostitute in one way or another. They don't care about money because they have a monopoly on music. So people will always be listening to music, and as long as there are people, there's going to be people consuming music. And if you only have one type of music out there, then it doesn't matter who your #1 is, because everyone's going to be a #1 artist. It like, none of this really matters. You don't have to worry about, oh, is this song a hit? Because now everything's a hit. Okay, we got our new song out, and then we just juke the algorithm to make this the #1 song, and now everyone is listening to the song because there is no diversity. It's not about inclusivity. That's just a bunch of commie gobbledygook. It doesn't mean anything. It just makes people feel better about how these things have just been destroyed and taken over. So you have these shows, and then they really are just kind of a celebration of the destruction of America. That's what it really is. America has been conquered, and the music industry is a reflection of that. It is ran by the people that have taken it over, and they use their money and their power and their influence because they want money so they can push their agenda. It's not about like, how do we make money this month? No. They have plenty of money. It's all about, okay, how do we get people to do the thing that we want them to do? That's their bottom line. Because if people do whatever the people in power tell them, then they don't have to worry about money, because they don't have to worry about an uprising. And then they're going to make all the money from whatever product that they put out. And I think what happened was it was just a natural trajectory of, okay, well, Motown, we had some people writing songs for these people. And then, well, we have people that are writing their own songs. And then now, well, we have technology where it writes the songs for us. So it was just like slowly cutting out middlemen until the producers, they don't even have to waste their time writing songs. They just have technology do it for them. They have Pro Tools to make people sound like they're good singers, and they use the same digital loops for their drum beats, and then you just have some kind of, you don't even need some kind of a catchy synth line now, because what you do is you just steal other people's songs and then repackage it. There's a song I always hear at the gym. It's "You My Pretty Little Bootang," and it just sounds like gibberish. But I'm like, that's "Best of My Love" by The Emotion.
Yeah.
And it's just repackaged for modern morons. Because like we could just have, why not just play "Best of My Love" on the radio? Because now it's replaced it. Like metal was replaced by rap.
Yeah.
And you used to have people that wanted to be rock stars, and not everyone could live the rock star dream, but on the way, you learn how to play an instrument. And that made you more disciplined, it made you more intelligent, it made you more dexterous, it did things for you. Now you have people that they just want to be famous.
Yep.
Musicians are not musicians anymore. They're props.
Absolutely. Absolutely, they are. What do you think about the AI thing coming in and repackaging older songs and
Well,
making
I don't think
famous?
the AI isn't repackaging the older songs. That's just those people are just take that. We know something that works. It's AI making new songs.
Mhm.
And the problem with it is it basically makes people that want to make music obsolete. But the funny thing is that it reveals that, one, you have all these people that are basically frauds in the industry, and um it shows that the these people are not actually musicians, and the producers are not actually making music. And then it will turn people off, and then eventually people will just say, oh, okay, well, I can make my own music if they're doing that. Now I'll just find whatever AI program they're using, and then whatever I'm interested in, I'm gonna make a song about playing soccer because I like soccer. Now I don't have to hear stupid people saying like "my butt's fat, fart too" or whatever that song was called.
What do
DJ,
you
the question was for you
Yeah.
too. Come on, you got to give your take
Fat butt. What was it? Fat butt fart or something like
or
that?
something. Fart two
something?
or something.
Yeah.
I think it was fart two or something.
Yeah. Well, I think the AI has been used a lot longer than we even think.
Yeah.
'Cause, and a big thing that we kind of stumbled upon was kind of two pronged. Was there was an incident where Cardi B threw a microphone at one of her guests at her show or whatever, and
Right.
broke the person's face or whatever. But then later on, the video came out of it, and the vocals kept going after she threw the microphone. So you're like, oh, these people are just 100% phonies, frauds. They don't make any of the music. They just have a human being or whatever. Maybe she's a robot. I don't know at this point because what is
Sex
real
bot.
anymore? Yeah. It's, and that wasn't like the big story. Like, oh, like the music didn't stop playing after she threw her microphone. The only way that people could actually, hear her sing or rap or whatever you want to call it.
Well, and also to interject on that was that when that happened to Motley Crue, that
Mhm.
became the
Mhm.
story.
Yeah.
Right.
That wasn't the story when Cardi B did it. It
Mhm.
was the story when Motley Crue did it.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, and even with Motley Crue, like knowing that, I don't want to see them. But some other people like I don't care. Like they just bring back such good times that I would see them just stand there, pretend to play their instruments and sing. But for me, I've never seen them, and that's not the way I would want to see them.
Right.
Like, and
I spent $1,000
Yeah.
for someone to play a Motley Crue MP3.
Yeah, that's not for me. But other people that we've even had on our show said no, like I love Motley Crue and I would go to that show. Well, I think you're out $1,000, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes when you would see a band live, they would add things or do things different to the song. And I think you really miss out on that live performance. I wouldn't do it either. I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, there used to be drum solos, guitar solos,
Yeah.
bass
Yeah.
solos.
Yeah.
And then now they show up and play and then they leave. And you're like, wow, that sounds just like the MP3s that I was listening to on the way here. Wasn't that so cool?
Yeah.
Well, I got a bridge to sell you, buddy.
So what made you start your podcast?
Boredom.
We just had such great conversations together that we just thought, you know what, the world needs to hear our voice.
Yeah.
But no, boredom did have something to do with it. Avoiding the real world and trying to navigate this other universe that we've been presented, and trying to figure out what's going on. Because I mean, we are optimistic people, but we also want to be realistic.
Right.
And we know that, like AC has a really cool band that he records music with all by himself. But he knows, that his album isn't going to top the charts, even though maybe if it was 1985, it would. But right now, like I hate to break it to you, AC. I know you've put a lot of money in this, but even if and it's for every metal band. I mean, what actual metal band that doesn't like rap in, like, that's not a metal band.
It's not Sleep
Right.
Token.
Yeah, that's like, which band is like, Megadeth has less followers than like Five Finger Death Punch. Like Megadeth opened for Five Finger Death Punch. I mean, like, where are you getting this the younger group of metal musicians who are able to make a living? Like, you have lots of bands like Forbidden, that I know they have, their own jobs. They can't just make a living doing music. So it just causes kind of like a chain reaction. I guess I went off on a tangent on not explaining why we did this podcast, but it was interesting that we're like, why is this person famous? Why is this popular?
The show is basically an accident.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what
that's a
happened
good-
was we were just kind of doing stuff because it was just like we would just talk about stuff and like, hey, why don't we try dipping our hand in or dipping our toes in this? And then we just found random things and we're like, hold on, what's going on here? The show kind of became the show. I think it's episode 10. It was the one where we looked into Rihanna and we're like, okay, this origin story is missing a lot of holes. It's like a 5-act structure where you're only given the first and fifth act. Like, hold on, what happened in the entire middle of the story? And we're just supposed to accept, like imagine going to watch a movie and then you have your first act and then all your characters are introduced and you're like, oh, okay, all right, I see it. I see where you could go with this. And at the and then the next scene is, and they all lived happily ever after. And you're like, wait, hold on, what happened here? It's like, what do you mean? Like, they all lived happily ever after. There is nothing more. That's, you got your characters and they won. I mean, what more do you want, people? So that was kind of the origin with Rihanna, is like she wanted to be a singer, and then one day some guy happened to be in Barbados, saw her, and then the next day she had a multi-million-dollar contract and a #1 record, and now she's a self-made billionaire. The end. Like, wait, hold on,
Yeah.
hold on there. We skipped a few steps, and then we couldn't find those steps, and then that just kind of became the show. Where, okay, hold on, why did you do it to this person? Why didn't you do it to those people?
Right.
Why is it like a certain type of person and only one type of genre? It's either like rap or some form of R&B. I and then I think that's what makes the show more interesting, because everyone knows these people, but no one knows where they came from. They just kind of accept that they just showed up one day. It's like that TV show V. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
It was like all the aliens showed up, but no one's asking, like, hold on, do they have an agenda? Is there an ulterior motive here? And then lo and behold, they're all secret evil lizard people. And I think that happened in the TV show too.
Yeah. Well, in my experience with the paranormal and with alien beings and multidimensional beings, there's always an ulterior motive, always. So
I don't believe in aliens. I think if anyone sees an alien, they saw a demon.
Yeah, in some cases, absolutely.
I think in every case. I don't
There
believe in
are,
aliens. I think aliens are an op to make people not believe in God.
that could be too. There is,
Because the Bible says nothing about extraterrestrials and aliens. So now, if there are aliens and there is other life, well, then there is no God. So you should live for now and put things up your butt.
having died, I can tell you there is something after we live. Yeah.
I
But
think so.
yeah.
And I just don't think there's aliens. I think aliens in space is all meant to make people think that what we do is so insignificant that we should live for the now and live the most hedonistic way possible. That's what I firmly believe about aliens. And basically, like the greater space outside the solar system.
And I think we should
We're
live
never living on Mars.
And we're not going to live on Mars.
Never happening.
No, it's not. It's not. What is it that you think we can change about the music industry right now? Or can we change anything? Is that, I know there's no going back, but what would you like to see moving forward?
I would like to see a group of people be able to essentially unequivocally prove via some kind of whistleblowing or data breaching that popular artists, like we suspect things. We don't know anything for sure. We don't have the smoking gun. Like we know OJ killed Nicole Brown, but he was found not guilty. So as far as anyone's concerned, OJ didn't do it. But we know that he did, but we can't say that we know. I would like to see the smoking gun that shows that these modern artists are AI and these songs are AI, and there is some kind of deal made where you get to party like a rock star and do all that stuff as long as you just let as long as you push the message and you keep your mouth shut. When people learn that it's all a sham, then some things can be done. Because until then, if you say like, hey, it's AI, it's like, oh, you're just jealous. You're just jealous of their success. And then what do you say to that? Like, no, I'm not. No, because you just without any evidence, you just look petty and immature. So when we can see that there is actually some type of shenanigans, there's not a group of people in a room just saying, okay, yeah, so we're going to use this program that this guy designed, and we're just going to make a bunch of songs, and and we'll just tell the people that these people worked hard on it, and then we'll just juke the algorithm to make sure this is number one. And it's like DJ has said before, it's easier to trick someone than convince someone that they've been tricked. But when you can prove that someone has been tricked, then people they'll be livid when, like, oh my gosh, I have been tricked. How dare someone make a fool of me? Do you know how smart I am? I'm the smartest person ever. And you made a fool of me? Never again. And that's the only way you can remove these people from the top, because now the next time an artist comes out, and if there's not actually the evidence of them playing the music, well, now, like, oh, I don't believe that. You just AI'd that. And then there will be very little progress made on the music front. But until that happens, then nothing will change, because the people in power use their power and their influence and their money to make sure that all of their secrets are kept, and nothing will change the status quo.
Yeah, and I think that is a first important step. But I have been in rooms where, you know, essentially, well, there was, okay, so about a year or so ago, there was an AI song that combined The Weeknd and Drake,
Mhm.
and the people found out about it, and they weren't mad. They said the song is fire, bro. It's
Right.
fire, bro. So you kind of almost have to take it another step further, where yes, you have to expose them for the frauds that they are, that you've been tricked, and they're after literally your soul. But then the second and maybe third part is that you have to have media replacing those, or at least made showing something that's wholesome, and some, like, especially with movies, if you want to reach people, you gotta get to them through the TV. That's People get a lot of their information from the TV, whether it's Netflix. I mean, people don't really have like direct TV or cable anymore, but they stream, and anytime something's based on a true story, literally everything is false. It's just has like, oh, their name is true, so it's based on a true story. So I
And
think
that's not even true
yeah,
anymore. They
yeah,
changed their
Right,
name.
right.
yeah, exactly. So I think you have to have a lot of media to combat it, and you got to do what we do. We usually have, one of us or our guest will read some lyrics. Like we had, I don't know if you remember those Geico commercials where, does the buck stop here, or does the little piggy, go wee 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 all the way home? Well, we had Michael McLawn, that guy, a part of the Geico campaign, do a dramatic reading of "Sticky" by, was it Charlemagne the God and Sexy Red and some other people? I
Yeah.
don't. It was.
One was Lil Wayne.
Was it Lil Wayne? Wow. Yeah, there was
Tyler
like
the Creator.
Tyler the Creator. That's right. Tyler the Creator.
And it
And
was 3 words.
was it Sticky, Sticky, Sticky? Bring 'em up. It's about to get sticky. And
Sticky
that's
was said
it's
a
a
few times.
yeah, it was a top it's a top 20
Yeah.
Billboard top 100 charting song. Like that's what's in right now. And if the people that listen to that song and say that's good find out it's fake, I think they're still going to like it
I
because
think
they're
they will
that
too.
dumb.
Yeah.
If
So,
there's a line where if enough of it is
yeah.
fake, then people will just say, "Oh, it's all fake." Oh, then what's the point?
Yeah, maybe they
Yeah, if
won't be
it
on the Super Bowl, so that would start a chain reaction, I guess. Like
yeah, if yeah, people will cope for only so long before they realize, okay, all right, I have actually been had. This isn't okay. But just one, it's like, oh, they're just trying something. Oh, it's just-
Yeah, you guys have more faith in humanity than I do, because I think they will probably still like the songs, even though they are completely AI. I don't
I
know.
think stupid people will always do stupid things,
Yes,
but there's enough people that have a modicum of intelligence that will let this slide for the time being.
yeah, yeah, they will. They will. I work with a lot of younger people, and I don't even remember what I was playing the other day. And one of my students arrived and said, "Wow, that's really good. Who made that?" And it was like Metallica from the early 90s, I think. And that just really, the younger generation, the kids just coming up, this was a teenager, they don't know what decent music is. They never experienced people with real talent.
Mhm.
How do you show them that there's more than made up AI stuff?
You can, but the music industry never will. And a lot of these bands, it's still something notable where Metallica is a valuable commodity
Yeah,
to the music world, because
yeah,
Metallica is still the number one metal artist of all time. But they're only pushed to an extent. But there's still a bunch of other things that could make money, and you're sitting on all these properties. So there's no real excuse to not push multiple genres and try to cast a wider net and just get more people engaged, because if you're only pushing one thing, there's going to be people that will just like that thing, like, oh, this type of thing is a thing I like. I'm glad I happened upon this. But there are going to be enough people that are going to go, I don't care how many times I've heard this, I don't like this at all.
right.
But if you push multiple things, then someone's gonna be like, whoa, go back to that one. I like that one. That sounded good. But they're not doing that. So there must be some ulterior motive.
Yeah,
There has to be.
yeah, I agree with that. There has to be. But I do think it's interesting that in the work that I do, I honestly some days feel like I've lost an entire generation. It's like, what happened? But there's so much that has transpired with not only with music, but the way people get their information, like social media stuff. And I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's really concerning to me. I think it goes beyond music AI. I think people are ingesting a lot of fake information in general.
Yes, yeah, it's called CNN.
Yeah, I
I
think there's
think
a lot more than that. Yeah,
yeah, no, I think you're right about kind of talking about a lost generation, because now, when we were kids, back in my day, when
Peppered Farm, remember?
my parents took me to the local restaurant, I had at most I'd have a book to keep me busy. Now
right,
you have these devices raising your kids, and when you give a child a device, a tablet, whatever, at the dinner table, you are saying, I don't want to raise my kid. This tablet, this
right.
intelligent device, this iPhone is going to raise my kid because they like looking at the pictures. And I've been around uh, a family event where a 5-year-old is watching a TikTok and doing like a literal like butt dance and listening to very degenerate rap. I think another thing too that's kind of, I think interesting is the wrong word to describe it, but what's going on in the country world where country is popular, but it's all turned into rap. We call it
Yeah,
crap.
yeah.
But like Beyonce just won a Grammy award in the country music out. Like it's just like it's
Wasn't everyone confused by that? Like,
yeah,
wasn't it
Was.
like that was kind of like a big deal?
it is kind of a big deal, and you keep hearing like, and that's the thing too, where I'd like to see the smoking gun of like, our radio stations really not playing her songs,
Right,
or did Jay-Z spend hundreds of millions of dollars to make her popular, which is, probably part of it
probably.
too.
Hmm,
But
How did Jay-Z get all of his money?
good question.
if crime didn't pay, people wouldn't do it.
But why are there so few billionaires of like rap moguls? Like he's not that much different than that many other rappers.
That is
So
that is
something
true.
there's something
Yeah.
off about him, like being a billionaire from that type of music. Like
Yeah.
it's not like he owns Atlantic Records or something where he's like, okay, well obviously he owns like it's like someone being like the owner, not the president, like the owner of like Warner Brothers Studios or something. But it's not. He's like he probably has more money than like Steven Spielberg. But it just doesn't make any sense to me how some of these people have so much money.
Yeah, I have no answer for that. I have wondered that same thing. Yeah. It's puzzling a little bit. And yet
Yeah.
you've got other people that don't succeed. I know many bands that friends of mine have, and they've had for decades, and they're still struggling to,
Well, they don't try hard enough.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
No.
You only make it to the top if you're talented. That's how it works.
Yeah,
If you don't
no.
make it to the top, it means you're just not talented.
You just don't have any talent. I
That's
got
how
to
it
go to
works.
the doctor.
No. No.
Yeah,
But
and
it's not just that he has a lot of money, it's that he has a lot of money seemingly like out of nowhere, and nobody asks questions.
Oh,
Like let's just say the average CD is like, we'll say, when we're just going to use the metric of a CD, and then it's like $10. So you'd have to sell 100 million to make $1 billion, but you don't make $10 per CD sale. So how much do you think that he made? Like, or how many records do you think he had to actually sell? Because let's say he produces so many artists, and he like combined somehow he made like, oh, I don't know, gosh, I'm just trying to think, a, th- a did he sell 1 billion records? Like, is that what happened? Like, through all the things he did? And a billionaire is seldom like, I'm worth approximately $1 billion. And you could say, well, that's in assets too, it's his house, his cars, his stuff, but still, to get that much liquidity to be a billionaire, I just don't see it. And people are just accept this, like, yeah, that what's there to know? I mean, he's successful, so he has $1 billion. Like, you have $1 billion because you have multiple avenues for wealth. Like, he's just, he probably has like a clothing line too. But how do you make $1 billion with a clothing line? And he's probably not, the creator of, Giorgio Armani or something. He probably has like I don't know, like something stupid and tacky that they sell at JCPenney.
I think it does come down to multiple streams of income, but I also think there's a little bit of funny stuff going on with his worth, because if you look at um, the money owed on different things, that's counted as an income when it's actually money owed. There are things with different projects that he worked on that he got money from other people to produce. That's not really his, and yet it's counted as his income. So I think a lot of people are doing some stuff like that. That's kind of funny. Um, Real estate, for an example, that is owed money on, but it counts as, wealth. There's always something hidden in financial statements, always.
yeah, just like, Puff Daddy had nothing to hide.
Yeah,
And it's like getting these people to realize, like, yeah, a Harvey Weinstein and a P. Diddy, it's like those are not the only ones in the industry. Like, that is the norm.
yeah,
So I'd say Jay-Z, hopefully at some point is on the chopping block, or we get some answers, because he's the one that, I mean, I guess he owns Rock Nation. That's a funny name, ROC, the Nation,
right.
and they put on the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
but like, but just like, it's
So
more
that
the
goes back to the question earlier. Are they paid to do it? So is Jay-Z paid and the artists aren't? Or
he
does Jay-Z have to pay the artists?
I remember when I was really into like sports contracts and stuff, and it was big news that the NFL signed like some 10-year deal with Rock Nation, and everyone's like, "Oh, great, Jay-Z's going to be in charge of putting on the Super Bowl." And then you see like, older, well, not even older, but just like old, I guess you call rock stars or guys
Pre
like,
Jay-Z.
yeah, free Jay-Z saying like, when are they gonna book a rock and roll band? It's like, it's not gonna happen, buddy. Like, you could think it all you want, you can believe anything you want, but that is not, like, Metallica's not gonna uh uh be a Super Bowl
No.
playing artist. And they, as much crap as we give Metallica, they deserve
I
it.
would
That's what,
rather
yes.
see Metallica at the halftime show than Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Serena Williams doing a crip walk.
Yeah.
Did that happen?
That apparently happened because
Mm.
yeah, it's
That's
that's the
funny.
world we live in.
It is.
You just
Yeah.
have to laugh at it, I guess. But no, it's like, it's serious. Like, how this is going. It's like when water starts circling the drain. Like, at first it just kind of goes kind of slow, but then we're getting really
Yeah.
into the bottom of the drain where it's rapidly declining. And
Yeah.
I think people are noticing it too, just because they flooded the airwaves with it's not just bad stuff, but it's the same stuff. So people can pretend for a while like, oh no, this is different. It's cool. I like it because it's different than most of the stuff that I like. But then they realize, oh wait, this is all I'm offered. And now that I only see this, I see it for what it is, and it is bereft of anything creative or intelligent. And it's basically a celebration of like degeneracy. I saw someone saying something that all these rappers have song like they'll do like 20 songs about killing people and selling drugs, and then they'll do one song about how hard it is to live in the ghetto or their mom, and then people are like, "Wow, preach it. See, that's the real stuff." And then that pattern repeats.
Yeah.
It's just like every you're tricked every time. But that's the one that the media will highlight. Like, see, it's not what you think it is. And then uh your stupid cousin will say, like, no, the songs are about like the real stuff. Look at these lyrics. And then they're cherry picking
Yeah.
and then ignoring everything else. But now when you don't have the options that, like, before you used to have Metallica, Alice in Chains, Tupac, Notorious B.I.G., Cotton Eye Joe, sorry, Rednecks, Ace of Base. You used to have a variety, but now when you just have the one thing, people are seeing it for what it is, and it cannot evolve. Like that's the thing with the modern, not music. It's not music. It's a product. It's a product. It is as much music as high fructose corn syrup and hydrogenated soybean oil is food. Like, it sounds like music. Your brain processes it like music, but it's degrading, like literally. Like, it degrades your brain. Like, you lose IQ points listening to it. It encourages bad behaviors. It is bad for your soul, and it cannot do anything more because it's a looped drum beat, and it's some basic type of synth just to have the semblance of music, with just like, I shot and killed you in the face, and I sold some drugs, and I'll do it again. It's that
I'm the
over
best.
over and over. Oh yeah, exactly. That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
And when that's all you have, then you cannot deny what it is.
Yeah.
And people are seeing that, and they're, if for no other reason that they want something else, they're starting to reject it.
I hope you're right when they're starting to reject.
Well, a good example is think about like all the comic book movies that came out. And then for a while, they were everyone that came out was the number one movie. They all made $1 billion, and then now they're starting to lose money. People are losing interest because those are the only movies being made. So maybe the quality has been dipping, but people want something else. But when all you give them is like imagine every restaurant is KFC. That's basically where we are at right now. Is every restaurant is KFC, and you have people that are like, I love KFC. They have the best potato wedges and that double down sandwich. Boy, I tell you, it's really good. But when you eat it every day, you're like, like my heart hurts, and this I didn't used to have diabetes, but now I have some diabetes. Like I don't know what it is, but could I have like a salad, maybe something else? Like, can I have water instead of drinking gravy?
Yeah. We have about, I don't know, 5 minutes left. I want to bring it back around to how do you use music as a positive? We've talked a lot about things that maybe are not the best, situation in music, but what is it that is so positive? I know I use a lot of different kinds of music as a release. I use it, and my students use it too, as something that helps you reach into something that's maybe bothering you that you haven't let surface yet, and you listen to a song and it's like, oh, that's it, that's exactly what I needed to hear. So what do you think? How do you use music like that?
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird because I feel like music is a lot like exercising, and when like you don't exercise for a while, you start not feeling good.
Right.
And I think with music, especially if you play it, like I'm not that good of a musician, but I'm totally self-taught. I haven't played the drums in a long time, but I can play the keyboard a little bit. And I remember getting back into it. It just it really helped like my brain get like a release because it felt like I was creating something. And while I'm playing the piano, I'm not out there, drinking alcohol or doing drugs or robbing people or,
Making
I'm
rap.
like, I'm not selling my body on the street for $1. But like the jokes aside, I think the younger that you play an instrument, like AC was saying, like it makes you disciplined. It literally makes you smarter. You learn a new language. You learn how to tell time. You have to add, subtract. You have to get like there's a lot of intangibles with music where a lot of like you just have to hold a note for a certain amount of time. Just and you get that feeling, and it's something that's not like calculated that the benefits, but you feel it. And I think and that's just playing it. Now listening to music, I would say do your best to listen to music and understand that you are putting something in your brain,
Right.
and like there are some bands I used to listen to that I don't listen to now, but I do appreciate that, hey, they are making their own music. It's what either they believe in or it's because I don't really like seeing, satanic imagery, or, there's some guys, were burning down churches I don't really approve of. So I try not listening to that type of stuff. But those who kind of have maybe a little imagery that I don't like, but are good human beings, I can kind of like differentiate between that because they aren't sacrificing kids at the altar or drinking their blood, even though they have some kind of maybe crude or kind of scary lyrics. But I feel like there's just something about hearing like whether it's King Diamond, Megadeth, Iron Maiden that just you can sit back and make wow, like those are musicians. They can play their
Yeah.
guitars, they can sing. Like I wish I could play the drums like that. It doesn't make you defeated. Like I'm never gonna be that good, but it can inspire you to maybe one day you can be that good. So I think it it's just important really to figure out what's going in your brain and being careful with that at the same time, because metal is it's kind of like extreme music, I
Yeah.
guess you could kind of say.
Yeah, absolutely. AC, what about you? How do you use music to feel better or as a positive outlet? What do you do?
Well, I see it as a way to cancel the negative,
Yeah,
because if you are listening to bad music, it you will develop bad thoughts.
Mm.
But there's always going to be bad things around you. But if you're listening to good music, it's taking your mind away from that. If you are engaged. So like if you're at the gym, um when the regular music is on at the gym, if I don't have my music in, it does make me angry. Like modern music, it genuinely makes me angry, and it doesn't make, like, people think like angry music, yeah, it makes you motivated, gets you pumped. Like, no, it doesn't. When you're angry, you don't want to do stuff. Like maybe you want to hit someone, but it makes me want to leave. But if I have my stuff in, like, and I just kind of fly on autopilot, and I will just exercise through it, and I think about stuff, and then I think like, like, oh, that sounds like a cool riff. Like I should do something like that. Like, and I'll get ideas for songs, and a lot of times I'll have ideas for songs, and then I'll be thinking about them, and then they don't come to fruition because I have a billion other things to do. But at least it keeps me out of trouble.
yeah,
Yeah.
It keeps me from doing something that um I will regret later. Because it's easy to not make a bad decision, but you have to be aware of that.
yes.
And if I'm just listening to something, then I'll be thinking about that and not doing something stupid. Because when I do listen to metal music, I do think about the riffs. I think about the leads. I think about fills. I think about bridges. I think, oh, that was a cool way to put that together. I like that. Because like one of my favorite bands is like literally one of my favorite bands is a band I just cannot listen to anymore. And I can do some of it, but not much as far as the lyrical
Yeah.
content. But man, that music, like there will there will be very few records ever that will be better than, as far as death metal records go, than Legion. But I just
I knew you were
can't.
talking about Deicide.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it couldn't have been more obvious.
Yeah. Oh, hey, mine was dissectioned, so I can't really listen to them.
No, I know. Like it's just the unfortunate curse that
Yes.
we fall under.
Yeah.
But man, those riffs, and
Yeah.
the in the unfortunately titled "Satan spawned the Cacodemon." Oh, man, those riffs are good.
Yeah,
But that's what and the problem is, I think about that, but I do know that subconsciously and it fills my brain, and I think a lot of satanic music, so people don't think I'm a hypocrite. Like, oh, you think satanic metal is okay, but rap's not? Well, one, satanic music isn't actually glorified by the media the way rap is. Like,
right.
Deicide or Morbid Angel will never play the Super Bowl.
Right.
But what I think the real problem with Satanism or satanic music is that it makes you okay with things that are bad. I say, listen, this is harmless. It's not hurting anyone. It's just music. But it makes you think that it's not causing any problem. And I think most of those people are kind of LARPing as Satanists, but there are people out there that do uh, drink the blood of infants, and they're currently in political office.
a lot of really horrible things going on politically right now. This is not a political show, but
No, but I do believe people in power are satanic baby eaters. And it's not just political power. I think it's that whole Bilderberg group, like the world elite. I do think that they sacrifice children and gain satanic magic sex powers from doing it. Where I think people that make metal music make you think that that isn't actually happening. And then Satanists are basically just nerdy libertarians. And yeah, I think that it's actually like those people are real. They are a threat. They are in power. And you think that they're like that. There's that episode of Metalocalypse where the guy, I think he has a heart attack, but he's trying to find religion, and then he joins the Church of Satan, and then the people are all a bunch of just nerds. And that's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think.
right, yeah. No, I've encountered a couple of Satanists, and what they have told me as the reason for investigating that particular belief system is because they liked the rituals. And
That's good.
that makes no sense to me, but okay. But thank you guys very much for being on the show. We'll have to do it again. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It was a great time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Happy to come back anytime as long as you like us.
I really enjoyed it. I know my audience will really enjoy it as well. This is a little bit different than what I've done in the past, and it's really kind of refreshing to have you guys on. So thank you very much.
Hey, thank you. Anytime.
Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time. Bye.